The airplane cabin thrummed with the low roar of air vents and the restless buzz of passengers claiming their seats. James Harris secured his laptop bag beneath the seat, his movements precise, savoring the fleeting calm by the window. A book on business growth lay open on his tray table, its pages promising a productive escape. For him, this flight was a sanctuary of focus and routine. Then, Lisa Thompson stormed down the aisle, her carry-on suitcase scraping with defiance. Her face was a mask of irritation, eyes darting over seat numbers with barely concealed disdain. She moved with the swagger of someone who demanded control, her world meticulously ordered by her own rules. Spotting her assigned seat, she froze, her glare locking onto James by the window. He glanced up, offering a fleeting, courteous smile before diving back into his book.
Lisa's voice cut through the air like a shard of ice. "There's been a mistake." A flight attendant paused mid-step. "Can I assist you?" "I'm not sitting there," Lisa snapped, her hand flicking toward James without meeting his gaze. "I need a different seat." The attendant scanned her tablet. "This is your assigned seat. Is something wrong?" Lisa's lips tightened, her pause heavy with intent. "This just won't do." Her words dripped with veiled meaning, sharp and deliberate. James felt the sting of her tone, the unspoken venom tightening his chest. He kept his eyes glued to his book, feigning ignorance. The attendant's voice stayed steady. "The flight's full. Please take your seat for takeoff." Lisa's face contorted with fury, but she relented, slamming into the middle seat with a huff. Her muttered complaints blended into the cabin's hum, though James caught fragments. Outrageous. Unbearable. The plane's door sealed shut with a hiss, the attendant's voice crackling over the intercom to signal departure. James exhaled, bracing for the hours ahead, hoping the storm had passed. It hadn't. The jet soared through the clouds, engines roaring with power. The seatbelt sign flicked off, and passengers stirred restlessly. James turned a page, his focus a shield against the tension radiating from Lisa. She fidgeted with exaggerated flair, her elbow jabbing him as she toyed with her tray table. A loud sigh escaped her, aimed at him like a dart. He ignored it, his calm only fueling her rage. "You'd think some people would have the courtesy to move when they know they're making others uneasy," Lisa hissed, her voice loud enough to turn heads. She spoke as if delivering a universal truth, not a personal attack. James snapped his book shut, his eyes meeting hers with steely resolve. "Got something to say to me?" Lisa faltered, caught by his directness. "I'm just saying, certain people don't care how they make others feel." She leaned away, as if he were a threat she could escape. A man across the aisle quirked an eyebrow, catching her words. James let her accusation linger before firing back. "If you're uneasy, that's your problem, not mine." Lisa scoffed, her voice venomous. "Unbelievable." She waved down the flight attendant. "I need a new seat," she demanded, her tone slicing through the cabin. The attendant approached, her patience a practiced mask. "Ma'am, as I said, we're fully booked. Please stay in your assigned seat." Lisa's arms crossed tightly. "It's not safe for me here. I don't know this man, and he's making me feel threatened." Her words landed like a thunderclap, sparking murmurs from nearby passengers. The attendant stiffened, her voice firm. "This gentleman has done nothing wrong. Please sit down and stop making remarks." Lisa's face flushed crimson. "So I'm supposed to just sit here, feeling unsafe? Is that it?" "What's unsafe about me reading my book?" James cut in, his voice calm but razor-sharp, slicing through the escalating tension. Lisa whirled on him, her anger unleashed. "You're crowding my space, and frankly, I don't trust being this close to someone like you." The cabin's whispers grew louder. A passenger 2 rows back shouted, "Lady, he's just sitting there! You're the one causing a scene!" Lisa spun, her glare venomous. "Mind your own business," she barked, then turned back to the attendant. "I'm not the issue here. I'm just voicing my concerns." The attendant's patience frayed. "Ma'am, this is your seat. Keep disrupting passengers, and I'll have to report you." "Report me?" Lisa's voice climbed, shrill and grating as she flailed her arms. "For standing up for myself? This is harassment. I'm forced to sit here, and he's intimidating me." A young woman in front spun around. "He hasn't said a word to you. You're making everyone uncomfortable." Lisa's face burned redder, her eyes darting as she sensed the tide turning. "You don't know what it's like to feel unsafe." James leaned back, his face unreadable. "You're right," he said softly, his words laced with quiet power. "I don't know what it's like to feel unsafe next to someone minding their own business." Laughter rippled through the cabin, passengers nodding in agreement. Lisa shot him a scathing look, but her support had vanished. She slumped into her seat, muttering bitterly. The attendant cast James an apologetic glance before retreating, hoping to quell the storm. James reopened his book, but his mind churned. He'd faced prejudice before, but Lisa's raw hostility hit hard. The cabin's tension simmered as Lisa shifted again, her arm brushing him deliberately. Her silent rage pulsed, and James braced himself. This wasn't over. The plane cruised at altitude, but row 17 crackled with unspoken fury. James gazed out at the clouds, seeking calm in their vastness. Lisa, however, was a storm waiting to erupt, her rigid posture and sharp mutterings betraying her unrest. "This is just typical," she declared, her voice cutting through the cabin's hum. "Why do they let this happen?" James turned slightly, his gaze cool but piercing. "What's that supposed to mean?" Lisa's eyes locked onto his, brimming with disdain. "Forcing people into situations like this. I paid for a comfortable flight, not this." James set his book down, his hands clasped tightly. "Am I the reason you're uncomfortable?" Lisa sneered. "It's not fair to make people feel unsafe. Not everyone's okay being crammed next to strangers." James's eyebrow arched. "Strangers? Or someone like me?" Lisa's gaze flickered away. "Don't twist my words. You know what I'm saying." "No, I don't," James said, his voice steady but edged. "Spell it out." Lisa's lips tightened, her frustration boiling. "Some people don't respect others' space. There's always an issue." James leaned forward, his tone sharp. "Some people? What's that supposed to mean?" Lisa's sigh was theatrical, her anger spilling over. "I shouldn't have to justify myself to you. I just don't feel safe." A man across the aisle scoffed. "Lady, he's just sitting there. You're the one making us all miserable." Lisa whirled on him. "Stay out of it," she snapped, then turned back to James. "It's not personal. I just don't think it's right to pack everyone together, especially with someone I don't know." James's calm held firm. "So, I'm making you uncomfortable, but it's not personal." Lisa bristled, her voice rising. "I'm not someone who fakes being okay just to be polite, unlike you." "Obviously," James shot back, his gaze unwavering. Lisa's face turned scarlet. "You think you're so smart, always making it about race." Gasps erupted around them. James stiffened, but his voice stayed low and firm. "I didn't mention race. You did. So tell me, what about me makes you so uncomfortable?" Lisa faltered, her eyes darting to an approaching flight attendant. "I don't owe you an explanation," she stammered. "Some people just make others uneasy." "Uneasy?" James's voice sliced through the noise. "You mean people who don't fit your narrow idea of acceptable?" Lisa's jaw worked, but no words came. Passengers murmured, shaking their heads. A woman leaned over her seat. "Stop before you make a bigger fool of yourself." Lisa's glare was venomous. "This isn't your business," she hissed, turning back to James. "You don't get what it's like to feel unsafe." James's laugh was sharp, humorless. "Unsafe?" Next to a guy reading a book? Listen to yourself. Lisa gripped the armrests, her knuckles white. I knew it. You're trying to make me the villain when I'm just honest. You've made yourself clear, James said, his voice cutting. And I'm telling you, your problem isn't my problem. The flight attendant reappeared, her face stern. Is there an issue here? Lisa pointed at James. He's harassing me. The attendant glanced at James, still calm in his seat. Ma'am, he's been quiet. You're the one causing trouble. Lisa gasped, her outrage palpable. This is absurd. I'm just saying how I feel. The attendant stood tall. Lower your voice and stop disturbing others. This is your final warning. Lisa slumped back, muttering bitterly. James exhaled, his patience fraying but intact. The air crackled with her hostility, and he knew this wasn't the end. The cabin lights dimmed as passengers settled, but row 17 was a powder keg. James stared out the window, his book untouched, Lisa's seething presence a dark cloud. Her mutterings grew sharper, louder, drawing eyes. This is what's wrong with the world, she declared, her voice a blade. Some people think they can do anything and ruin everyone else's comfort. James ignored her at first, familiar with such veiled barbs. Then he turned, his voice low and firm. If you've got a problem with me, say it. Lisa's lips curled into a sneer. Don't play innocent. You're not special. I never claimed to be, James shot back. But you've been at this since you sat down. Enough. Lisa's voice hardened. It's not my fault I feel unsafe. People like you should think about how you affect others. The cabin hushed, her words a spark in dry grass. James gripped his book, his voice steady. People like me? Say it clearly. Lisa's cheeks flushed, her defiance wavering under scrutiny. You know what I mean, she snapped. You people always make it about race. James leaned back, his breath sharp. You brought up race. If that's your issue, maybe ask yourself why. Murmurs swelled. A woman ahead turned. Lady, you're humiliating yourself. Stop. Lisa's face twisted with rage. Mind your own business. I have every right to feel unsafe. Unsafe? A man across the aisle barked. He's reading a book. You're the problem here. Lisa's eyes darted, her anger surging. This is harassment. You're all ganging up on me because I'm the only one with the guts to speak out. Guts? James's voice cut through, soft but lethal. What's gutsy about judging someone you don't know? What's gutsy about hate? Lisa's jaw clenched. You don't know me, she hissed. I'm saying what everyone's thinking. The cabin's murmurs turned to disbelief. A young man filming nearby spoke up. No, you're saying what a bigot thinks, and it's all on camera. Lisa's head whipped around. You can't film me, she screeched, her voice piercing the engine's hum. That's illegal. Not on a public flight, the man said coolly. Keep going. You're digging your own grave. Lisa lurched to her feet, knocking her tray table. Her drink teetered, splashing the armrest. This is outrageous, she roared. I won't be silenced by you people. Passengers flinched as her wild gestures filled the cabin, her face a mask of fury. This is harassment. I'm the victim. The flight attendant rushed back, her eyes blazing. Ma'am, sit down now. Lisa ignored her, pointing at James. He's the cause of this. He's been intimidating me from the start. James stayed seated, his voice icy. Intimidating you by existing? You're provoking me, Lisa screamed. This is what you people do, create chaos and play innocent. The attendant's voice boomed. Ma'am, final warning! Sit down or we'll escalate this. Lisa turned on her, her face flushed. I'm not the problem. He is. She jabbed a finger at James, who remained unshaken. Passengers muttered, their patience gone. Just sit already, a woman growled. But Lisa stood firm, her body taut, ready for war. Lisa towered over row 17, her frame trembling with rage, her voice a piercing blade. "I have every right to protect myself from this," she bellowed, thrusting a finger at James. "This is harassment, pure and simple." Passengers craned their necks, some whispering, others gaping in shock. A man nearby muttered to his companion, "This is insane." The flight attendant stepped forward, her voice commanding, "Ma'am, sit down now. You're disrupting the flight." Lisa spun, her hands shaking. "Disrupting? I'm defending my safety. This man," she stabbed her finger at James again, "has been threatening me this whole flight." James, still seated, met her accusation with calm defiance. "You're lying. I've done nothing but exist. You've been hostile since you boarded." Lisa's face twisted in fury. "Don't you dare flip this on me," she shrieked. "I won't let you twist this." A young woman behind James stood, her voice dripping with disgust. "Lady, we've all watched you unravel over nothing. No one's buying it. Sit down." Lisa whirled on her, venom in her tone. "Of course you'd take his side. You people always jump to conclusions." The woman's jaw dropped. "Are you for real? You're doubling down on this nonsense?" Lisa ignored her, waving frantically at the attendant. "I demand to speak to someone in charge. This is an outrage. He's dangerous, and no one listens." The cabin's murmurs grew louder, passengers' frustration boiling over. A man across the aisle leaned out, his voice sharp. "The only danger here is your attitude. Sit down before you're kicked off." Lisa glared, her face blazing. "How dare you? You don't know what I've been through." The attendant closed in, her patience gone. "Ma'am, last warning. Sit down or security meets us at landing. This is unacceptable." Lisa scoffed, her voice trembling with defiance. "Security? Let them try to justify letting him make me feel unsafe." James shook his head, his voice low. "You're burying yourself with every word." Lisa snapped back. "Don't act like a saint. You've been taunting me with your smug attitude." A man a few rows ahead stood, addressing the cabin. "This guy's been quiet, reading his book. She's the one causing chaos. We all see it." His words sparked agreement from the crowd. Lisa's eyes darted, fear flickering as she realized she stood alone. But she doubled down, stepping closer to James, her voice a venomous hiss. "You think you're clever?" she spat. "People like you always push boundaries and get away with it." James raised his hands, calm but firm. "I'm not pushing anything. You're the one making a spectacle." Lisa lunged forward, her gestures wild. "You'd love to make me the bad guy, wouldn't you? That's what you people do, always flipping it, always playing the victim." Gasps echoed, her blatant prejudice igniting the cabin. A young man nearby aimed his phone at her. "Oh, you're going viral now. Keep talking." Lisa's face contorted as she lunged for the phone. "Stop filming me. You have no right." He leaned back, keeping the phone out of reach. "I've got every right to capture a public meltdown. You're making this too easy." The attendant stepped between them, her voice thunderous. "Ma'am, sit down now! Final warning!" Lisa froze, her chest heaving, eyes wild as she searched for allies. But the passengers' faces showed only disdain. "You're all against me," she muttered, her voice quaking. "This world ignores the truth." The attendant pointed to her seat. "Sit. Now." Lisa stood defiant, her body coiled, ready to strike again. James met her gaze, unflinching. He didn't want this battle, but he wouldn't back down. The storm was far from over. Row 17 was a battlefield, Lisa trembling with fury, her fists clenched, her face a mask of rage. Her voice pierced the cabin's hum as she pointed at James. "This is why people like you shouldn't fly with us," she roared, her words a dagger. "You're all the same, loud, entitled, always stirring trouble." James sat firm, his body taut but composed. I've done nothing but read my book, he said, his voice steady but sharp. You're the one turning this into a war. Lisa's eyes widened in mock shock. Don't play innocent. You sit there, all smug, thinking you're above us. You people always act like the rules don't apply. Gasps rippled through the cabin, passengers' murmurs turning to outrage. Lisa pressed on, stepping closer, her finger inches from James's face. You're trouble, she spat. Every time someone like you shows up, there's chaos, demanding respect you haven't earned, expecting handouts. James's jaw tightened, his voice low. If anyone's disrespectful, it's you. You're out of control, humiliating yourself. Lisa's face twisted. Humiliating myself? You don't belong here? Go back where you came from. The cabin froze, a passenger muttering, "What is wrong with her?" Lisa ignored the growing fury around her. You think you're equal to me? You're not. You never will be. James's hands gripped the armrests. Enough, he said, his voice a blade. You've shown everyone who you are. Sit down. But Lisa's rage exploded. She lunged at James, clawing at his shirt, screaming, "You don't deserve to be here." The cabin erupted. "Stop her!" someone yelled as Lisa grabbed James's arm, yanking him forward. He pulled back, hands raised. "Get off me," he said, his voice firm. The attendant charged forward, her voice urgent. "Ma'am, stop now!" Lisa thrashed, her nails scratching James's arm. "You think you can scare me? You're all thugs!" Two passengers leaped up. The young man filming grabbed Lisa's arm. "Enough!" he shouted. Another man seized her other arm, pinning her. Lisa fought, screaming, "Let me go! This is assault! I'm the victim!" The attendant, shaken but resolute, stepped in. "Ma'am, you're a danger to everyone. Stop!" Lisa twisted, her voice a wail. "This is discrimination. I'm attacked for speaking out." "You attacked him," a woman scoffed. "You're unhinged." Lisa's eyes darted, seeking support. "You're all against me for telling the truth," she screamed. "This is what happens when you let people like him in." "Get her off," a passenger shouted. The attendant signaled for zip ties. "We're restraining her until landing," she said firmly. Lisa thrashed as her wrists were bound. "This is illegal! You'll all pay!" The passengers forced her into her seat, her wrists secured. She glared at James, her voice a venomous whisper. "You think you've won? You'll pay. You people always do." James shook his head, his voice unshaken. "You're the only one paying here." The attendant leaned toward James. "I'm so sorry, sir. Law enforcement will handle her at landing." James nodded quietly. "Thank you." Lisa slumped, muttering darkly. Passengers glared, shaking their heads. James turned to the window, the clouds a fleeting refuge. The storm had calmed, but the battle wasn't over. The cabin buzzed with uneasy whispers as passengers traded glances. Lisa, restrained, seethed in her seat, her face flushed, her bound hands twitching. The air was thick with tension. James stared out the window, seeking calm, but Lisa's voice shattered the silence. "You think you're so righteous, sitting there like the victim," she hissed. "You caused all this." James turned, his patience razor thin. "You attacked me, and now play the victim. You're delusional." Lisa leaned forward, straining against her ties, her voice rising. "Don't lecture me. You people demand respect. You haven't earned. I've worked for everything, unlike you." Murmurs grew, passengers shaking their heads. "Shut her up," a man muttered. James set his book aside, facing her fully. "I've worked hard too," he said, his voice ringing. "I won't let you insult me just because you can't face your own prejudice." Lisa's eyes blazed. "Spare me your sob story. The world doesn't owe you anything." James's control snapped, though his voice stayed sharp. "The world owes me nothing, but it doesn't give you the right to treat me like I'm less. Your arrogance is vile." Passengers leaned in, some nodding support, others demanding action. Lisa pressed on. "Vile? You don't belong on this plane. You're lucky they let you board." James matched her intensity. "Lucky. I paid for my seat. Just like you. You're the one acting above the rules." The attendant returned, her face pale but resolute. "Enough!" she shouted, stepping between them. "Stop yelling! This is a safety issue!" Lisa ignored her, straining forward. "He's the problem. I wouldn't have spoken if he hadn't made me unsafe." James leaned in, unyielding. "You felt unsafe because I'm here? That's your issue, not mine." The attendant raised her hands. "Ma'am, we're moving you to the back until we land." Lisa's face twisted. "You can't. I paid for this seat. You can't treat me like a criminal." "You attacked a passenger," the attendant said coldly. "This is final." Lisa's voice hit a fever pitch. "This violates my rights. He started it." Passengers jeered, clapping mockingly. Crew members unfastened her seatbelt, lifting her from the seat. She fought, feet dragging. "You'll regret this," she screamed. "I'll have your jobs." As Lisa was hauled to the rear, applause erupted. A woman turned to James. "Good riddance." James gave a tight nod, his adrenaline surging. The attendant secured Lisa in the back, where she kept shouting, "This isn't over. I'm not the villain." James took a deep breath, staring at the sky. A man across the aisle leaned over. "You handled that better than I could. She's lost it." James nodded silently, the weight of her words heavy. The cabin quieted, but the echoes lingered. The fight wasn't over. The plane descended smoothly, but the cabin simmered with tension. James sat still, hands in his lap, gazing out at the fading clouds. The cockpit announced landing, and passengers sighed in relief, their faces weary. In the back, Lisa's muttering flared into shouts, her bound hands jerking. "This is illegal," she bellowed. "I'll sue you all." Passengers winced, one muttering, "Will she ever stop?" James tuned her out, his adrenaline ebbing. The attendant had promised security would handle her. The plane touched down, and relief swept through. No one unbuckled, waiting for the rear to be resolved. Security officers boarded, their presence commanding. The cabin hushed as they strode to the back. Lisa's reaction was explosive. "Why are you here?" she screeched, thrashing against her ties. "I did nothing wrong." The lead officer's voice was calm but firm. "Ma'am, stay seated and cooperate. You're reported for assault and disruption." Lisa's face contorted. "This is a joke. I'm the victim. That man," she twisted to glare at James. "He started this." James stayed still, his expression stone. The attendant spoke to the officers. "She's been disruptive since boarding and attacked a passenger. We restrained her for safety." Lisa's voice cracked with desperation. "I'm not the problem. He is. They're lying." The officer was unmoved. "Ma'am, we're escorting you off. Resist, and you'll face more charges." "I'm not leaving," Lisa screamed. "This is a setup. Discrimination." Murmurs rose, passengers mocking her. "Get her out," a woman said. Lisa's screams grew frantic as officers freed her restraints and lifted her. She thrashed, feet skidding. "This is illegal. I'll sue you all." The officers stayed calm, guiding her down the aisle. Passengers leaned away, some filming. "You're ruining my life," she screamed. "This isn't over." As she passed James, she glared. "This is your fault. You'll regret this. You people always do." James met her eyes, unflinching, silent. She was hustled off, her cries fading. The cabin exhaled. A passenger near James said, "Good riddance." She's unhinged. The attendant approached James, her voice soft. "Sir, we're sorry. It's documented, and security has her." James nodded, weary. "Thank you, Passengers offered support as they gathered their things. The ordeal lingered as James stood, their nods a quiet comfort. Lisa was gone, but the fallout was just beginning. The plane emptied, passengers spilling out with relief and frustration. James lingered near the gate, his bag at his feet, asked to stay for security. The confrontation's weight clung to him, but he stayed composed. Across the terminal, Lisa raged, flanked by officers, her wrists free, but movements restricted. "This is an outrage," she shouted. "I'm no criminal. This is harassment." An officer spoke firmly. "Ma'am, statements from passengers and crew confirm your behavior was unacceptable. You're staying for questioning." Lisa's face burned. "Question him! He started this! It's a setup!" Her voice drew eyes, some passengers filming, others shaking their heads. James watched, detached, unwilling to engage. This was about accountability now. The attendant approached, her tone gentle. "Mr. Harris, security's handling it. The airline's cooperating. We can arrange a car home." James nodded. "I just want this done." A passenger, a young woman, smiled. "You handled that better than I could. She was way out of line." James gave a small nod. "Thanks. She exposed herself." The woman nodded. "The videos will make sure she can't twist this." Lisa's tirade echoed. "You'll regret this," she yelled. "I'll sue everyone." A passing passenger chuckled. "You did this to yourself, lady." Lisa spun, glaring. "How dare you?" An officer steadied her. "Ma'am, calm down." "I'm calm," she snapped. "This is a sham. He provoked me." A supervisor arrived, clipboard in hand. "Ma'am, evidence shows you assaulted and disrupted. You're detained for investigation." Lisa's jaw dropped. "Detained? For defending myself?" The supervisor was unmoved. "Assault isn't defense. Cooperate, or it worsens." Lisa's voice cracked. "I'm the victim." James watched, feeling vindication tinged with exhaustion. Her accountability offered closure. As officers led her away, she screamed, "This isn't over!" A passenger muttered, "She's the one paying." James smirked faintly, grabbing his bag. The ordeal was draining, but the fight was just beginning. Lisa woke to chaos, her phone buzzing with notifications. She grabbed it, eyes widening at headlines. "Woman ejected from flight after racist rant goes viral." Her heart sank as she scrolled, seeing her face, screaming, lunging, plastered online. Comments stung like knives. Disgusting. She deserves jail. Her email held a bombshell from HR. "Lisa, due to your widely shared flight behavior, you're suspended pending review. Stay away from the office." "No," she whispered, voice breaking. "They can't do this." A call came, cold and official. "Lisa Thompson?" "Yes," she stammered. "Officer Richards, Municipal Police. Come to the station for questioning on Flight 327. Assault and disorderly conduct." "Assault?" Lisa's knees buckled. "He provoked me." "You were recorded attacking a passenger," the officer said. "Get a lawyer." Lisa collapsed, tears streaming. She opened social media, desperate to fight back, posting, "I'm targeted by cancel culture. The videos lie. I was provoked, threatened. I'm not a racist." The response was brutal. "Threatened by a book? The video doesn't lie. Just vanish." Lisa slammed her laptop shut, breathless. News outlets tore her post apart. Talk shows mocked her. Memes proliferated. Friends ghosted. Family distanced. Neighbors whispered, and "racist" was scrawled on her fence. James stayed silent, his lawyer urging restraint. Support poured in. Strangers. Civil rights groups. His attorney filed a civil suit for distress, defamation, assault. Lisa faced ruin. "This isn't fair," she whispered, clutching legal papers. "He's destroying me." But she knew she'd destroyed herself. Lisa sat in a frigid holding cell, the bench's chill biting through her blouse. Her hands twitched, wrists sore. Officers' voices and clinking keys grated. She'd tossed all night, replaying the flight. "This is a nightmare," she muttered, trembling. "They can't do this." An officer unlocked the cell, his face neutral. "You're up for questioning. Come on." Lisa stood, defiance in her step. "Finally letting me go? This is ridiculous." He ignored her. "Follow me." Her heels clicked, voice rising. "This is a mistake. That man provoked me. I was defending myself." Silence answered her. "You're making an error," she snapped, her voice echoing. "I'm innocent!" In a stark room, 2 officers waited. One pointed to a chair. Lisa sat, arms crossed, glaring. "I'm not talking without my lawyer." The lead officer slid a file forward. "You're right, ma'am. We have statements and video evidence." Lisa's heart raced. "Video? It's lies. They're all against me." He opened the file, revealing stills of her rage, pointing, lunging, restrained. Her face burned. "That's not the full story," she stammered. "He antagonized me." The female officer leaned in. "You escalated it. You'll explain in court, but the charges are serious." Lisa's voice rose. "Serious? I'm the victim." He was smug, staring like I was the problem. The officer raised an eyebrow. "So you attacked him?" Lisa faltered. "I was defending myself. He intimidated me." The officers glanced at each other. "Ms. Thompson, you face assault, disorderly conduct, and crew interference," the lead said. "You're in custody until arraignment." Lisa shot up, chair scraping. "You can't. I'm not a criminal." "Your lawyer can argue that," the woman said. Back to holding. Lisa's protests echoed, her heels clicking. "This is wrong! I'll sue!" The officer left her in the cell, her confidence crumbling under the weight of reality. James sat with his lawyer, the ordeal etched in his face, but his resolve firm. The lawyer sorted papers. "The evidence is airtight," he said. "This is about accountability. She needs to face consequences." James nodded, gripping his chair. "I didn't want this, but she can't walk away." The lawyer nodded. "Her criminal case comes first, but our civil suit will follow. She won't escape this." James exhaled, relief stirring. Justice loomed, faint but real. Lisa's arraignment drew a crowd, reporters, onlookers, passengers from the flight. Her face, infamous, filled headlines. She entered the courtroom pale, torn between rage and fear. The prosecutor laid out charges: assault, disorderly conduct, crew interference. Lisa sat rigid beside her lawyer, a man braced for chaos. The judge entered, silencing the room. Lisa's lawyer stood to plead not guilty, but the prosecutor struck first. "Your Honor, we have witness accounts and video showing the defendant's dangerous actions." The judge scanned the file. "Ms. Thompson, do you understand the charges?" Lisa leaped up, her lawyer grabbing her arm. "Your Honor, it's a lie. I was provoked. He made me unsafe." The prosecutor's eyebrow arched. Witnesses and video show her starting and escalating to violence. Lisa's face burned. "You weren't there. He threatened me with his presence." Murmurs swept the courtroom, gasps punctuating her words. The judge's gavel cracked. "Ms. Thompson, be silent unless spoken to." Lisa collapsed into her seat, hands gripping the table. Her lawyer whispered, but she brushed him off. The prosecutor pressed on. "Given her refusal to accept responsibility, we request custody or high bail." Lisa's lawyer pleaded her clean record, but the judge was unmoved. "Bail is $225,000, he declared, gavel striking. "Next hearing in 2 weeks. Custody unless bail is posted." Lisa's eyes widened. "This isn't fair. I'm not a criminal." Her cries echoed as officers led her out, her lawyer trailing. Cameras flashed, cementing her downfall. James watched from the back, his face neutral, seeking fairness, not revenge. Exhaustion hit as Lisa was removed. A journalist approached. "Mr. Harris, any comment?" "No comment," James said, walking away. Onlookers buzzed outside. James pushed through, Lisa's consequences offering relief. His lawyer caught up. "The criminal case will wrap fast, but our suit takes time." James nodded. "I want this to send a message." "It is," she said. "The world's watching." Lisa's trial loomed amid media frenzy. Videos replayed endlessly. James stayed focused, avoiding attention. Lisa, defiant, ignored her lawyer's pleas. The courtroom was electric on trial day. The judge spoke. "We're here to resolve charges against Lisa Thompson. Assault, disorderly conduct, crew interference." "Ready?" James's lawyer stood. "Yes, Your Honor." Lisa's attorney hesitated. "Ready, Your Honor." The prosecutor presented damning evidence, witnesses, videos of Lisa's rage. Gasps filled the room. "This wasn't a misunderstanding," she said. "Ms. Thompson endangered everyone, targeting Mr. Harris with racial hostility. We seek a guilty verdict and strong sentence." Lisa squirmed, the evidence crushing her. Her lawyer stood. "My client regrets her lapse and faces consequences already. We ask leniency." The judge was stone-faced. "Victim statement?" James stood, commanding the room. "Your Honor, this wasn't just about me. It's about people like Ms. Thompson thinking they can act without consequence. She tried to diminish me, but she exposed herself. I hope this court shows her actions have weight, for me and everyone like me." He sat, the room silent. The judge spoke. "Ms. Thompson, the evidence is clear. Your actions were dangerous and prejudiced. You're guilty on all charges. I sentence you to 90 days in jail, 200 hours of community service, anger management, and restitution to the victim." Lisa gasped, clutching her mouth. "Your Honor, this is too much. I've lost everything." The gavel slammed. "This court has ruled. Bailiff, escort her." Lisa's lawyer stood frozen as she was led away, screaming. James sat still, his lawyer whispering. "Justice is served." He nodded. A step forward. Outside, reporters swarmed. "No comment," James said, his voice firm. The cool air hit as he left, a weight lifting. It wasn't full victory, but it sufficed. On the steps, he recalled Lisa's venom, her dismissal of his worth. It wasn't his first brush with hatred, nor the last. James exhaled, breath visible in the chill. Lisa wasn't unique, but her consequences were real. The support, passengers, strangers, bolstered him. Her actions tried to break him, but he stood tall, proud. "Small steps," he whispered, descending the stairs. "Steps toward a world where prejudice can't thrive." For now, it was enough. James walked away, head high.